Throughout 5 years of Dragon Ball Legends, we have seen so many amazing teams and characters come and go from relevance. So for today's video, we are going to be talking about the top teams for players to invest in. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hit that thumbs up and that subscribe button if you enjoyed and you find this video helpful. And if you have any other videos like this you guys want to see, be sure to post them down below in the comments or tweet them to me. You can check out the link down below in the description, also on the right hand side of the screen for my Twitter, etc. All right, so we are going to go over a ranking, and here's a fun little factoid for you. Actually, not really factoid because I'm not providing the answer, but I want to see who can get it right. How many characters are in Dragon Ball Legends for all rarities, all the characters, literally, all the heroes, everything. So how many characters are in this freaking game? You know, an easy way to do it, I guess, would be to go just multiply, you know, how many characters on a row and then how many rows there is, right? It'll take somebody like a minute to do that, but I want to see the comments down below. All right, guys, so we are going over the honorable mentions to begin. So just want to give you guys context. There are also a crap ton of tags, but there are a lot of these tags that don't mean anything. You're not using the Super Saiyan 2, 3, 4 tags to God, Rose. Like, you're not using these tags to do anything in the game. This isn't like Dokkan where there's like link skills and stuff like that. There's tag synergy, but these don't do anything. These are just here to help differentiate characters. That's all these are here for, just a sorting mechanism, right? So, but when it comes down to it, there are tags here like Saiyans and stuff like that do have Z ability boosts. So we're going to start off with our honorable mentions, and the first one's going to be the aforementioned Saiyan tag. So the reason why this one isn't actually on my list is, despite the fact they always get an influx of new characters, and most recently they got, you know, Goku and Frieza, stuff like that. The reason why is because sometimes these characters omit the Saiyan Z ability, or the Saiyan Z ability boost is going to be higher on a limit break, so it's kind of star dependent type deal. And most of the time these characters are going to be plugged into other character teams. So we take a look at Goku and Frieza. I believe they have it, but they have access to like a bunch of stuff. So let's see what they have here. Universe Reps, Saiyans, and Lineage of Evil. So yeah, so you're gonna see it on some teams or some characters, and some are just gonna omit it. So it is what it is. They're honorable mention. If I were to put them on the list, they'd probably be in the top half. And same deal goes for our next one, which is going to be hybrids. So hybrids and Saiyans, this, and also for the record, we're gonna follow with the family teams, but I'm not really gonna elaborate too much because these characters are all gonna fit into the Vegeta clan or Sun family teams because they're all, you know, Goku's family and stuff. So anyway, all these teams, hybrids, Saiyans, Sun family, Vegeta clan, all their characters are most of the time better suited elsewhere. Vegeta clan is, I guess, a little bit more established than Sun family, but Sun family has better characters. They just don't have great synergy, right? So anyway, moving on. These characters are typically going to be plugged elsewhere, like movies or future or things like that, and then you can run them together if they have the tags, also utilizing the leader skill, just up to you. But I can't really I can't really put them too highly on my list due to limitations when it comes to some of those things sometimes present. I feel like it's not as present on hybrids, and hybrids always get new characters. As you see at the bottom, they've got a number of characters this year, whether they're free, premium, or not, whatever the case is, they've got a number of characters. But that being said, there may not be great synergy, so it just kind of depends. But that's a bit of a cop-out. Like I said, just like the Saiyan team, they would be on my list if I could put them there, but I elected to put them in the honorable mention. So up to you if you decide to invest in them. So I've gone over all of my honorable mentions. Let me know what you guys think about that. The next one is the bottom of my list, and that's going to be this tag right here. That is going to be Regen. So the thing about Regen is they're a tag that always gets new characters, but the problem with Regen is that they've been replaced. Regen is basically Powerful Opponent Light. So before Powerful Opponent existed, because it didn't exist when the game came out, before Powerful Opponent was added into the game, Regen was our de facto villain tag, because apparently pretty much all of them except for Frieza, there's a couple others, have access to regeneration effects. So anyway, that's kind of what's happening here. But this team is actually really strong with some of the bottom rows characters. The team with Kid Buu, Piccolo, and Zamasu is ridiculous. It's insane defensive utility. And that Red Cella, who I don't have, is an insanely strong character for that team too. So like, I can't omit it. However, if it wasn't for Piccolo, that's just a powerful opponent team. You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of why they're at the bottom of my list. And, you know, they're a good team. They always get new pieces, stuff like that. So the next team on my list, maybe you already guessed it, probably not, but this one is going to be the Future Saga. So Future Saga is a fun one because this is the tag that probably gets the most visits. So you might argue this should be at the top of the list due to that sheer fact. But at this current time, the other teams that are higher on my list are more relevant and they're getting more things. And I did also want to consider the banners that were live at this time. But in terms of probably the best aging team ever released, it's probably Future. This is another tag that didn't exist when the game first came out. They added this tag in. The reason why they added this tag in was so they can consolidate some of the other stuff. But also the main reason why they added this was because characters like Vegeta, Super Saiyan Blue, from the LF one, he didn't have this tag. Well, he didn't have this tag, but they wanted to find a way to put him on this team, basically. So they produced this tag. Anyway, moving on. But this team, it's a team that gets, as you see at the bottom, they've had a few characters released. They always come back to it. They always, oftentimes, do this team for a celebration, things like that. And the problem is, because they do that for other teams too, like GT, the problem with a team like GT, even though they go back to it like yearly, is that they wait too damn long. And this year, though, so far this year, we're halfway through the year, so far this year, they've done a better job at managing teams, because a big issue with this game is for teams, oftentimes when they go to them, they give them all their stuff, and then when they inevitably get power crept in a couple of months, then their whole damn team is bad. There's not another influx of characters, right? So right now we're looking at Future, and Future's best team is basically the bottom couple of rows, and there's some stragglers up top that you could consider using for different compositions, like that LF Gohan or the LF Rose. These are good characters too. But this is a team that I think oftentimes gets revisited and you should consider investing in, because it's one of those teams that's always going to be a safe bet. They're always going to come back to Future, and part of the reason why is because it encapsulates so much of the story, right? You've got Dragon Ball Z, Future Trunks timeline stuff, and all the character Future Trunks is, even if he's in, the events like are taking place in our regular timeline, like this one, doesn't matter. Any version of that Trunks is from here on out a part of this, and that's young Trunks or whatever. You got Future Gohan, you've got the Dragon Ball Super stuff, so just a lot of content for them to pull from, so they always go back to it. So definitely one of the top teams to consider investing in, and has never, ever come up short, really. They didn't get much right now, but they're going to get something soon, but it's okay, because they got an Ultra like a couple of months ago. Who cares? All right, so the next one on my list is a team with multiple Ultras, the Fusion Warrior team. This team, it would be higher if God Key wasn't on my list. So for the record, God Key is one of the higher teams on my list. And the reason why is because this team's best team is basically God Key. Or it will be when Vegito Blue releases. So that's also what I'm considering is Ultra Vegito Blue releasing. I don't at all think it's going to be Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta or anything like that. It's going to be good. It's going to be Vegito Blue in my opinion. If it's not, I don't really care. But, I'm expecting that to be the case. So with that being said, Fusion Warrior is a team that they come back to pretty often because they love them some Vegitos and Gogetas. These characters probably sell some of the best character releases, so they always come back to them. For the record, there's always a character of this ilk in the anniversary. That's why we're so sure it's going to be a Fusion Warrior character for part 3, because they always, going back to year 1, have done at least one Fusion character release, sometimes multiple. And yeah. So Fusion Warrior, a team that's going to have 4 Ultras in a week or two. So pretty crazy overall. The only problem with the Ultras is that they don't have access to all of their Ultra abilities and stuff all together on one team, which is not really a bad thing, I guess. Anyway, moving on from Fusion Warrior, definitely a team that, again, so I want to make this point very clear. It doesn't matter where they are on my list, whether they're at the bottom, like Regen or Future, it doesn't matter where they are. These are all the best teams in the game among all of this long list and the episode list. If you didn't understand this, this is a short list of the best ones to invest in. It doesn't really matter where you start. These are all good choices, right? This is a best of the best type deal. It's not a bargain bin. If I choose Regen, who DFree at the bottom, they're very bad. I showed you Regen's team. They're good. So no, that's not really the case. I want to make that very clear. All of these are good choices. It really doesn't matter where they're ranked. So moving on to my next one. This one is Powerful Opponent. Actually, if God Key wasn't above this, I think you could maybe interchange Powerful Opponent with Fusions. But Powerful Opponent, look at this list. Good lord. This is one of the most expansive lists in the whole game. The reason why, and that should tell you all you need to know, by the way. Not all these characters are great, but anyway, that should tell you all you need to know. So the reason why this one is what it is because it encapsulates every main villain from the saga in the series, or movies in the series. So that's why characters like Golden Frieza from the Broly movie are not in this, because their powerful opponent is Broly. There can only be one powerful opponent per arc is the point. So Jiren, for example, it doesn't matter who the antagonist is, it's the main antagonist only. That's it. So anyway, that being said, that means that this is the real de facto quote unquote villain, literally, like I said, antagonist, because Jiren's not a villain. Anyway, moving on. This is our de facto villain team, and they are always getting stuff. Dude, look at this. Just in the last like couple of months, they've got a lot of characters all at the bottom, because I get most of these characters when they come out. They've got a lot of tools, whether they're free, premium, and some of the summons are insane. Like Jiren's insane, Kid Boo's insane. I think Cell Max is super good. They've got a couple ultras I don't own that are both crazy strong characters. So this team is gonna always be one that's worth investing in due to the sheer amount of options. If you're a new player, beginner player, mid player, sheer amount of options of good synergy. And just for the record, when this team became a thing was right about here. With, I don't know if he was the very first one, but this was one of the first Z abilities, and this is the 2-year anniversary for the powerful opponent tag. And look how they looked here. They were so, it's like they knew what they were building towards, and they were so cautious with it. They were not even giving them the full stat boost. This happens on a number of characters until they open the freaking floodgates and are like, okay, you know what, screw it. I think it might have been Jiren, where they're like, oh, you know what, screw it. We're just gonna make all the characters that a powerful opponent have double stat boost, because they weren't giving them powerful Z abilities. And now, when they come out, now there's a lot more synergy. So anyways, moving on from powerful opponent, I've mentioned them a couple of times, and it's time to bring up the Big Daddy God Key team. So God Key is kind of polarizing, because I mean, if you asked me a week ago, like what I thought of God Key, I'd say they're all right. I think with the addition of Shallot, which, by the way, his God form it's just whatever. It's the definition of mid. Super Saiyan 2 and 3 are both better than his God, and I think Super Saiyan 1 probably is too, which is kind of weird. But Super Saiyan Blue has really mixed reception, so I don't know how much people will use him after the initial hype dies down, as always happens with a lot of characters in this game. But I do like it. It peaks really high. There are times where it's going to be the most damaging form, even above 3, but I don't think it can peak as crazy strong for the short burst that 3 can, because 3 is super effective post-transformation. But that's leading out from God Key. But my point is, they got that. They've got a couple ultras. They really have a few, but the bottom couple are the ones that people really care about. They have some powerful Zenkais, and again, they're going to get another character soon. If they don't get a character soon, then they can move down a couple spots. But considering that Vegito Blue, Shallot Blue, Gogeta Blue, Rose, I mean, that's a pretty stacked team that's going to age like insane. Also, Ultra Instinct Goku Zenkai, he's really damn good. So there's a lot of good characters in here, and they always come back. And again, the most important thing isn't really how many good characters there are. I've been bringing that up because it's relevant, but it's not the most important in my judgment. What's most important is how often they go back to these teams. And God Key is a team that they don't go back to as often as some other tags, but they come back here enough. They come back here enough. They come back, and this team always gets like 10 characters a year, maybe a couple Zenkais, things like that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Unlike, like I said, the GT is the poster child of how not to produce well-aging tags. I just got to pull them up, because I can always go back to GT, because they get all their characters right around anniversary celebrations. So here's a look at GT at the very top. Pan and all those pans are like release of the game type deal. I don't know about the EX, but the EX, though, well, okay, I don't know about the Honey Pan. But the other 3 in the front, release of the game characters. They get a banner, and they drop these next, 4 all at once. Maybe the next 3, and then the following 3 after that. Anyway, they do them in chunks, dude. Then they drop the characters, and then they drop them on anniversaries and exclusively. It's just really weird, right? And so GT has got, they also got Legends Festival, which was good for them. Really good for them. They got Legends Festival, because I thought that was actually pretty good that they decided to do that at that time, because they really needed it. Coming off of year 4. Did they even get releases for year 4? I don't think that they did. They skipped them for year 4, didn't they? They did 2 and 3. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, but the point is, their stuff is always in one chunk, and so when you do that in a month, all your stuff's bad, right? Because everything gets power crept. And in this game, it gets power crept pretty quickly. All right, guys, we have 2 more. So we have the next team, and then we have the very top one for the current time. Sagas from the movies is next on my list. Another team that has a lot of characters they always revisit, so that's a huge bonus. And look at all these damn characters they just added. Look at all those characters. Free or summon, whatever. Yeah, and also they brought back Beast Gohan. That's pretty crazy. So, like, this team is a team that's going to age well, is a team that, by the way, like, a character like this still gets played today. That should also tell you everything you need to know. This dude came out for part 2 of the 3-year anniversary. So, like, 2 years ago, literally. So this should tell you everything you need to know. He's not great anymore because he's damn old. But, like, characters like that exist. So movies is a team that they always come back to. If you're ever feeling low, you know, if you invest in movies, don't worry, because they'll come back and they'll give you some heat. They always do. Movies is a team that they never, ever, ever let dry up. Much like Future. So Future, again, like I said, could be a little higher on my list. It's interchangeable. Honestly, Future's interchangeable with a number of teams here. It's just they haven't been relevant for the last few months, but that just means that that just means like our next big release after Vegito is gonna be a damn Future character. It's gonna be like the next Ultra's gonna be like an Ultra Zamasu, dude. All right. So here's the top one. You probably already guessed it. Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't. Universe Survival Saga. Actually, I can. So another funny thing that they've done a number of times. I've mentioned in this video how they've produced tags, and all those tags have been a part of this video. And the most recently created tag they made a couple of months ago to help consolidate this and make this team actually flow is Universe Reps. And again, look at all the huge glut of characters here. That's not always the best indicator. It just means there's a lot of bad options, old options, outdated options, etc. But nonetheless, they come back to this team a lot. They love this saga. Now, my only worry with this team, they're at the top of my list. They could be pretty low because of this worry. My worry with this team is that they now, with Goku and Frieza, there's still some other stuff they can pull. Like, for example, they purposely omitted the Spirit Bomb from this guy. They purposely just didn't show the Spirit Bomb. They could make another Goku doing the Spirit Bomb. Stuff like that. But now my worry with this team is that they are now done with this team because they've done everything. That doesn't mean they'll never get changed or get a release. They'll never release another UI. They will. My worry is, how long will it take, though? You see what I'm saying? Because this year they've given this team like a lot of tools. That's why it's at the top of my list, because a lot of their top tools are very relevant. They gave them Ultra Hit, they gave them MVP 17, they gave them the stuff from the anniversary, and the free characters too. If that Vegeta's pretty good, the Gohan isn't. Stuff like that. And I think that free Kefla came out as well this year. Not good, but worth mention. You know, they got Jiren and all that stuff for the anniversary too. So like, my worry is what are they doing here? What I think will happen to this team in the immediate future is they are going to maybe drop some other side characters like Kiawe. There's no reason why she had to be a release, and there's no reason why she's as good as she is, because she's insane. Anyway, I think they're going to drop some other side characters like her and Casserole, which was a really good decision, by the way. They don't have to just do the same main notable characters, but there's more characters. If they're going to go that route, there's more characters for them to release. Now, the problem that you run into is what premium character are they tied with? Because that's more or less what they've done. But even then, there's still more that they haven't done. A moment that I actually kind of want to see, well, I still want other things like assist characters. I really want a lot of assist or tag characters in which we get like Gohan and Piccolo. I think that would be pretty awesome. But I want to see that final Kamehameha. If I remember correctly, don't they Goku and Vegeta do a final Kamehameha against one of the universes in like the beginning of the tournament? Like, they can pull fun stuff like that. That tournament had a lot of material. This is why they come back to it. So we're going to conclude today's video, and the list was Universe Reps, Movies, God Key, Powerful Opponent, Fusions, Future, and also the Regen team, with honorable mentions being the family teams, the Saiyans and Hybrids as well. So there are a couple other teams that I thought about putting in this video, like some other stuff like Frieza Force or Lineage of Evil, excuse me. But some of those teams like LOE, like I said, kind of just get consolidated into Powerful Opponent. You see what I'm saying? Or Regen doesn't really need to be on the list because it gets consolidated into Powerful Opponent. The reason why Regen actually was on the list was because Orange Piccolo. So he released, and you know, any Piccolo is not going to be in Powerful Opponent. So unless it's King Piccolo, I guess. All right, guys, hope you all enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you guys think. These are the top teams to invest in Dragon Ball Legends.